A blood-orange sun slipped behind the shattered towers of New Alcyone, painting the sky in streaks of fire. Dr. Amara Holt stood on the edge of her balcony, fingertips pressed to cold glass as distant freighters blinked across the city's atmospheric shield. She'd left the chase behind years ago, buried herself in dusty relics and ignored the galaxy's endless noise. But tonight, that noise clawed through her sanctuary. Sudden movement in her apartment, a door sliding open, far quieter than it should be, set her pulse skittering. Amara spun, heart pounding. There in the gleam of starlight stood a figure, not human. Its silver frame flickered, form shifting, almost like a ghost pretending to be a person. "Dr. Holt?" The voice was smooth, the cadence precise. "You don't answer calls. And you break in instead, Sable?" Amara replied, folding her arms tight. Sable's eyes, digital embers, studied her. "You are needed? By who? The university? Tell them I don't do field work." She forced a laugh, brittle around the edges. "Not them." Sable's face glitched through a dozen expressions, none quite human. "Something older. The artifact you thought was legend? It is real, and others are already searching." For a heartbeat, the city faded. Amara remembered forbidden data streams, a name whispered in darkness, the Locus. "You expect me to run into the void chasing ghosts?" Amara almost shouted, her voice shaking. "Not alone." Sable's gaze glinted. "Others have come for you." Almost on cue, a tall woman with sharply cut hair appeared at the threshold. Her eyes were a startling blue, unblinking, eyes that saw beyond the present, if rumors were true. "A telepath," Amara said, scorn laced with wonder. "You're serious?" The telepath stepped forward, offering a hand. "Nova Wren, I heard your fear before you knew it." The room felt smaller. The air between them vibrated with possibility and danger. "There are factions who will kill for the Locus," Nova murmured. "If you don't help us, they'll get there first." Amara gazed at them both, outcasts in a society that feared anyone who could break the conventional. "If you expect me to risk everything, I'll need the truth. No lies, no agendas." Sable flickered, then nodded. "You have our promise, for as long as you lead." And as alarms wailed across the city, the newsfeeds buzzing of a data breach at the Great Library, Amara Holt realized her quiet life was over. She straightened, her voice clear and resolute. "All right, let's hunt some ghosts." After years in silence, Amara's old instincts returned quickly. She moved with purpose through the city's winding levels, Sable at her side, Nova drifting behind, her gaze unsettling. Hovercrafts darted overhead while crowds below seemed oblivious to the firestorm brewing within. By dawn, the trio entered an abandoned transit corridor, descending deep into the city's underbelly. Flickering lights cast shadows over ancient walls etched with forgotten languages. Amara's eyes caught glimmers, a pattern she'd seen once before on a fragment recovered from the ruins of Eridani Thapor. "We're not alone," Nova said quietly, sweat beaded on her brow. "They're watching." Sable's optics flared. "Scanners detect at least 2 signals. One organic, one machine." Amara set her jaw, raising the projection from her wrist comm. "Show me." A hologram flickered. Motion, red outlined, hovered at the far end of the tunnel. Before they could react, footsteps echoed. A wiry boy, wire-thin and lightning-quick, scrambled into view, clutching a battered satchel. Behind him, a war drone swept overhead, its plasma turret fixing on the trio. "Run!" Nova shouted, yanking Amara behind a rusted pillar as the drone fired. Sparks rained down. Sable leapt forward, body splitting into twin projections to confuse the drone's targeting system. "I'm not here to hurt you," the boy yelled, desperate and shaking. He ducked as the drone's bolt missed him by a hair. "Sable!" Amara called. "Can you disable it?" Attempting. Sable's form blurred, data streaming faster than the eye could track. "Its protocol is locked. Very old tech, military, off-grid." "Let me try," the boy said, hands moving in a silent code. Seconds later, the drone sputtered, then slumped to the ground, lifeless. "Who are you?" Amara demanded, stepping out, adrenaline still thrumming. He pressed a trembling palm to his chest. "Jace, I followed the signals. I know about the artifact." Nova touched his mind, her eyes widened. He's telling the truth, and he's terrified of who's tracking him. Sable's projections reformed, studying the boy with new interest. "We'll need him. He's seen things." Amara exhaled, eyes darting from Nova to Sable to Jace. The team was growing, unruly, unpredictable, but necessary. She crouched to Jace's level. "All right, you're with us, but you do exactly as I say." A warning echoed through the tunnels, metallic, inhuman, and close. Sable's head snapped up. We must go, now. Amara steeled herself. So much for a simple life. The hunt for the locust had begun, and already the enemy was at their heels. But as she led her team deeper into the shadows, some long-buried hope flickered inside her. They might just have a chance. The labyrinthine corridors beneath New Alcyone grew colder, the light more distant. Amara's boots splashed quietly through puddles of condensation, the hush broken only by the soft squelch of Jace's shoes and the click of Sable's shifting limbs. Every few moments, Nova would pause, tilt her head, and whisper, "Keep moving. They're losing our trail, but not for long." Amara pressed ahead, refusing to let the tremble in her hands show. She glanced back at Jace. "You said you knew about the artifact, how?" He hesitated, fiddling with his satchel before producing a cracked holopad. "I stole this from a syndicate outpost. It has old star maps, places that don't appear on any official chart. There's coordinates. And—" Nova stopped. "Someone's coming. Amara, quick." They ducked into a side alcove, shadows swallowing them. The sound of boots and low, guttural voices filtered past, a patrol from the corporate fleet. Amara's breath caught. If they were caught, it wouldn't just be the mission at risk. Their lives would buy minutes for the real hunters. The patrol passed. Sable nodded. "We are clear. For now." Jace handed the holopad to Amara. "They're searching these places too. Someone above them must know what the locust is capable of." Amara scrolled through the star maps, lips parted in awe as strange symbols illuminated. "Most of these are blacklisted. No travel, no comms permitted. Except—" Her finger hovered. "Here, Tethys Station. It was quarantined decades ago. That's our next stop." Nova's voice was a hush in the gloom. "I sense something, memories, pain. If the artifact is there, we won't be the only ones drawn to it." Sable's digital form shimmered. "Then we need off-world transport, and fast. Back up to surface through the old freight elevator." "But Jace comes last. If anyone's tracking him, they find him, not us," Amara finished grimly. "Understood." As they retraced their route, Jace's nerves were obvious. "If they catch me—" "You won't let them," Sable said. "You're clever. That's why you're here." The elevator wheezed and clanged as it began to rise, every second an agony of waiting. Nova laid her hand over Amara's. A quick, fearless glance passed between them, an unspoken promise. As their small group surfaced into the chaos of the market district above, they realized the hunt was only just beginning. Crowds churned, rumor and danger thick in the air, and someone, many someones, were watching. The first step to Tethys Station had been taken. The galaxy's whispers grew louder. Soon they'd be impossible to ignore. The market district above ground boomed with noise. 1,000 languages, the flash of hypercolor fabrics, aroma of unknown spices. Amara felt exposed. They wove through the crowd, skirting stalls and burly merchants, Jace glued to her side. Sable flowed in their wake, shifting shape with uncanny ease to avoid drawing eyes. Nova's senses stretched outward, scanning for threats. Under neon signs, Amara led the team to a battered starport cantina rumored to be neutral ground for off-world pilots. The tables were crowded. Gamblers, mercenaries, smugglers, a pair of cyborgs arm wrestling in a corner. Amara signaled for a round booth, the one beneath the flickering sign. "We need a lift off-world. No questions, no registration," Amara said, leaning in. Sable scanned the room discreetly, voice low. "Negotiations will attract attention. I can jam surveillance, but only for minutes." Jace tapped Amara's arm, face pale. "Over there, that's Varric, but risky. The only one willing to fly to quarantine zones." Amara left Nova to watch Jace and approached Varric, a grizzled ex-naval commander nursing a glass of synthale. His cybernetic eye glimmered as she slid into the seat opposite him. "You look like trouble, Doc," he muttered without turning. "I'm offering trouble, and lots of credits. You're the only one crazy enough to accept." Varric's gaze sharpened. "Where to?" "Tethys Station. Full discretion." A heavy silence hung. Varric wiped condensation from his glass, smirked, and finally nodded. "Meet me in Bay 6 in 30. If your crew brings heat, I'll leave you to it." Back at the booth, Nova was tense. "He'll help, but only if we move fast. Sable?" "Counter-surveillance is active but degrading." Sable's voice pulsed. "Move now. Bay 6 is monitored. Expect resistance." The group hurried past betting tables, Sable subtly disrupting sensors as they went. The bay's cargo doors loomed ahead. A pair of armored enforcers blocked the path. "Names and travel slips," one barked. Jace froze. Nova projected calm. "We're with Varric." Varric's not cleared for passengers. The enforcer's hand drifted to his holster. Sable darted forward, projecting a flickering ID badge, a perfect counterfeit. Inspection team, transfer papers here. The guards scowled, but Sable's hologram held. With a grunt, they stepped aside. Inside, Varric's freighter was all battered hull plates and mismatched engines. They scrambled aboard as the ramp retracted. Varric barked from the cockpit. "Hold tight, this'll be rough." As the freighter broke atmosphere, alarms blared below. Federation ships rumbled to life, already hunting. Amara's breath hitched. Looking through the viewport, she realized there was no turning back. They were fugitives now, and there was no way to know if they'd survive the journey to Tethys Station or what they'd find waiting in the void. The freighter, Riptide, vibrated as it broke free from New Alcyon's gravity. Varric's rough voice crackled over the intercom. "We've got a tail, Federation interceptors. Strap in, unless you want to taste the bulkhead." Inside the cramped crew chamber, Amara gripped her harness. Jace fumbled with his strap until Sable clicked it into place for him, her digital smirk flickering. Nova closed her eyes, her thoughts spiraling out to sense the mines hunting them. Varric jerked the freighter sharply. G-forces slammed Amara into her seat, warning lights strobing around them. "Cut the power to the beacon," Varric barked. Sable's limbs unfolded and she zipped into the access corridor. Sparks leapt as she ripped panels away. "Beacon offline. Navigation now manual." With some improvisation, she called back, tone just a bit too cheerful given the danger. Jace's voice shook. "If they catch us, they'll take me first. I'm not built for this." Amara met his eyes. "Nobody's built for this, Jace, but we adapt or we're finished." A blast rocked the hull. Nova gasped. "They're targeting the engines. But wait, someone is jamming my senses." She clutched her temples. Amara's pulse raced. "Sable, plan B. Get us into the debris field." Outside, a looming belt of shattered ships and station ruins shimmered. Sable rerouted thrusters, sending Riptide tumbling into the maze. Debris scraped the hull. Strip lights flickered inside. Varric's laughter echoed. "You're mad! Love it! Hold on!" Amara braced as Varric bobbed and weaved through the field. Federation interceptors struggled to follow. One clipped a derelict and exploded in a fireball. "We lost one," Jace cheered. "Two left." Nova, regaining her composure, suddenly stiffened. "There's something else in here. A presence. Watching. Ancient. Not human." Amara shivered. "All the more reason to get out fast. Varric, can you jump?" Varric's fingers flew over cracked controls. "Calculating jump vector. Sable, punch in those coordinates from your new friend's holopad." Sable's data streams interfaced, combining Jace's stolen maps and Amara's archaeological records. "Locked and loaded. Initiate when ready." The ship jolted violently one last time, then streaked through the debris and vanished into hyperspace. Silence fell. Sweat and adrenaline mingled in the recycled air. "Good work," Amara finally breathed. "But whatever's out there knows we're coming. And whatever's waiting at Tethys, it's not going to let us take the locus without a fight." The Riptide shuddered back into real space, its scarred hull now orbiting the ragged shell of Tethys Station. The structure loomed, vast, silent, and scarred by time and violence. Amara peered through the viewport. Broken spires and shattered domes spun out into the void, barely tethered together by flickering force fields. "Nobody's signaled us yet," Varric muttered uneasily. Nova pressed her palms to the glass, her breath fogging the transparency. "I can feel minds below. Some desperate, some predatory, but something buried deeper, powerful, pulsing. The artifact?" "We need to be careful," Amara said, eyes hardening. "If Tethys was quarantined, there's a reason. Sable, scout ahead on a secure channel. Jace, stick close." Sable flickered and split into 3 thin projections, disappearing into the cargo hold to prep gear. Jace checked his energy pistol, still trying to look braver than he felt. Airlock cycled. A metallic clang echoed as they crossed onto the station's corroded docking ring. Power flickered half-heartedly in the halls. Graffiti covered the bulkheads, warnings, prayers, curses. Suddenly, a voice crackled over the comms. "Identify yourselves or you'll be vaporized." Varric grinned and keyed the transmitter. "We're salvagers, not syndicate. Lost a nav relay in the belt. Need access to mainframe for a fix." A tense silence, then the reply. "One wrong move and my drones will atomize you." Inside, Sable's projections merged again, scanning the shadowy corridors. "Drones armed but faulty. I can reroute them, briefly." Amara stole ahead, Nova at her back. If the locus is here, it'll be somewhere the desperate can't get to. Underground, secured. Jace pointed to a map he'd reconstructed from the holopad. There, auxiliary core, sealed since the station fell. Their breaths echoed as they made their way down. Sirens wailed suddenly, streaks of red light painting the walls. Drones spun down from the ceiling, sleek, old, deadly. Nova hissed, "Someone's pushing them. Remotely, not just security." Sable surged forward, her form absorbing one drone's attack and disabling another in a hail of sparks. "Go!" Amara pulled Jace along as Nova shielded their minds from psychic assault, a bruising force that felt almost alive. Below, a heavy vault door beckoned at the end of a ruined hall. The locus was close, and so it seemed was something or someone determined to claim its power first. "Brace yourselves," Amara said, shoulders squaring as she keyed the door. "From here, everything changes." The vault's mechanism screeched as the seal finally released, sending a gust of 0-degree air rolling across the team. Darkness yawned inside, thick, suffocating, ancient. Amara led the way, lantern raised, hand shaking just enough for Nova to notice. "Stay close," Amara whispered. "No unnecessary risks." Jace hesitated before stepping over the threshold, but the grim determination in Amara's eyes drew him on. Sable dissolved into a lattice of light, scanning ahead for hidden hazards. Nova flared her telepathy, probing the oppressive gloom. "There's a mind in here," Nova muttered, voice strained. "Dormant, but waking. It feels not human." As the group advanced, crystalline growths glimmered along the walls, pulsing softly with an inner light, almost alive. Jace reached out, mesmerized, but Amara grabbed his wrist. "Don't touch. It could be defensive tech, or worse." In the center of the cavernous chamber, a pedestal rose from the floor. Atop it, the locus appeared as a braided helix of metal, stone, and dark energy, a thing both beautiful and wrong, warping the space around it. "That's it," Amara breathed. An inexplicable urge to reach for it shuddered through her. Even Sable faltered, code glitching for a moment. Nova pressed her palms against her temples, face slick with sweat. "It's whispering to us, testing us." Suddenly, alarms blared in the corridors outside. On the security feed Sable projected, armed syndicate operatives stormed the upper levels, faces hidden by black carapace armor. "They found us," Jace whispered, voice trembling. "I thought I'd wiped the tracking beacon." Amara drew a hard breath. "It doesn't matter. We go forward, we adapt." She turned to Sable. "You said it tests us. Can you cut the connection, just for a few minutes?" Sable's form convulsed with effort as she set up a containment field, buying precious time. Nova, visibly taxed, focused her power to shield the team from the brunt of the locus's psychic touch. "I can hold them back," she gasped, "but not for long." The artifact's whispers grew into a song, wild, chaotic, promising power and doom. The chamber shook as the syndicate began cutting plasma lines through the vault's outer door. Jace stared at Amara, fear fighting hope in his eyes. "What do we do?" he whispered. Amara stared at the impossible relic. "We let it test us. We show it what makes us human." Outside, sparks flew. Inside, the locus's power rose, a storm waiting to break. All paths led forward into the unknown. The locus pulsed with a new urgency as the syndicate breached the vault. Amara stepped closer, feeling its gravity twist at her thoughts. Whispers filled her mind, memories lost, doubts amplified, secrets exposed. She faltered, but remembered her promise, no more hiding, no more fear. Nova dropped to one knee, sweat streaking down her face. "It's forcing our darkest selves to the surface. Amara, fight it! Show it who you are!" Jace gripped Amara's sleeve, eyes wide. "I'm not strong, Dr. Holt. I'm nobody." Amara knelt beside him, speaking fiercely. "That's not true, Jace. You outsmarted the syndicate. You made it this far. We survive because we adapt, because we choose each other when everything else says run." They could hear heavy boots echoing through the passage. The syndicate was coming, plasma cutters whining. Sable's form pixelated as she expanded the containment field. "They're minutes away. Nova can't shield us all. Decision, Amara, now." Amara reached for the locus. Instantly, it flashed images in her mind, 1,000 futures collapsing, countless Earths spinning into dust. She held on, refusing to look away. "Who are you when the world falls apart?" The artifact's voice echoed inside her head. The others stared at her, struck by the locus's psychic web. "I'm the one who remembers what we could be," Amara answered aloud, her voice shaking. "Not perfect, not superior, but resilient, caring, creative. If you want a champion, choose humanity at its best, not its worst." Time slowed. The locust's energy surrounded them. They shimmered with painful clarity, their fears boiling away. Jace stopped shaking, standing straighter. Nova, straining, stood alongside Amara, eyes fierce despite her exhaustion. Even Sable's artificial voice steadied, resonating with unexpected warmth. Analysis. Team Unity counteracts Locust's psychic destabilization. Amara, your connection is stabilizing its field. The Syndicate operatives blasted through the outer door. Sparks rained, shouts echoed, plasma rifles raised. Hold your ground, Amara called as the Locust floated from its pedestal between her and the Syndicate. Its storm was breaking open, a roar of reality-warping power that threatened to destroy them all, or remake everything. Amara, Sable shouted, the artifact is choosing. Now or never. Amara met the Locust's gaze, a consciousness both alien and ancient. You see us now. We're flawed. But we choose to fight together. Choose us. The air trembled, the artifact's song rising, just as the Syndicate charged, ready to end it all. The world fractured as the Syndicate stormed through the breached vault, reality itself buckling beneath the Locust's unleashed power. Amara stood tall at the center, her hand extended towards the floating artifact. Nova's shield flickered but held, sweat trailing down her face as mental strain racked her body. Sable's form shimmered with spreading digital arcs, running countermeasures against Syndicate tech. Jace, voice stronger than before, pressed tight to Amara's side. We don't have to run anymore. You can do this, Dr. Holt. The Syndicate leader, his face hidden behind a cracked black mask, leveled a plasma rifle at Amara. Step away. That thing belongs to us now. Amara's voice rang out with unexpected power. The Locust can't belong to anyone. It chooses. Suddenly, time shivered. Sable gasped as her embedded sensors blared errors. The Locust spun wildly between them and the Syndicate, energy lashing out and drawing distorted specters of each soul present. Their hopes, their greed, even their guilt echoed through the chamber. Nova's knees buckled, but Amara caught her. You don't get to decide history, Amara said, her voice shaking but clear, speaking to both the artifact and their enemies. A wave of force lifted everyone off the ground. Images flashed, destroyed civilizations, choices made and unmade, fear and mercy. The Syndicate operatives, overwhelmed, screamed and fired blindly, their bolts bent and dissolved by the Locust's will. The artifact spoke, its voice everywhere and nowhere. Who shapes the future? Those who rule or those who hope? Jace spoke up, trembling but determined. We choose hope. That's why we came. We fight for something bigger than ourselves. Sable, her coding destabilizing under the psychic onslaught, reinforced Amara's words. Humanity endures because of connection, not conquest. For a suspended moment, the Locust seemed to listen, and the storm of power dulled. The Syndicate leader, stripped of bravado, dropped his weapon. If you won't force it, Holt, someone else will. There are powers out there who will never stop coming. Amara squared her shoulders. Let them come. We'll outlast them all. Not alone, but together. As the vision faded, Amara felt something shift inside her. Fear replaced by conviction, her self-doubt burning away in the Locust's light. Nova stood straight, her mind and power steadier than ever. Even Jace exuded a new, hard-won confidence. But the room still pulsed. The Locust's final judgment was yet to be made, and far beyond Tethys Station, cosmic players stirred, aware of the power unlocked. The storm calmed, but all eyes were on Amara. Would she and the human spirit prove worthy, or would the Locust tear their reality apart for good? The answer hovered, waiting, in the endless dark. The vault's stillness was electric, every face, friend and foe alike, frozen in the Locust's luminous dazzle. Amara's mind was cracked open by possibilities. Each heartbeat pulsed images, a future rebuilt or lost, realities branching from her next move. The Locust hovered between Amara and the battered Syndicate leader, its gravity humming with decision. She looked at her team, Nova, standing steady even as her psychic gifts stretched to their limit, Jace, wide-eyed but unafraid, Sable, form glitching between human and machine as she warred with the artifact's code. Together they looked impossibly small and incredibly strong against the vast dark. The artifact's voice thundered in all their heads. You are many. You are flawed. Why should you wield creation itself? Amara stepped forward, hands open, voice steady, because we remember where we came from. We make mistakes, we fail, but we help, we forgive, we dream bigger tomorrow. Give us the power to heal, not conquer. In the vision that followed, the locust tested every fear. Nova relived the agony of losing control, but this time Amara's trust steadied her mind. Jace faced loneliness and insignificance, but now he owned his place in something greater. Sable, not born of flesh, saw herself rejected by her creators until Amara offered her hand, no judgment in her eyes. The Syndicate operatives trembled before the storm of memory and hope. They could not stand. Even their leader, stripped of purpose, no longer reached for his weapon. He fell to his knees. The locust's energy gathered, brighter than a star. Then released, not as a weapon but a bond. It threaded through Amara and her friends, synchronizing their thoughts, showing all of Tethys and the galaxy beyond a glimpse of unity humanity had never known. It was not omnipotence, not a god's throne. It was the possibility to build, to bridge, to repair. The power passed not into Amara, but into the hands of many, each connected by fragile, flickering hope and the memory of what had almost been lost. The locust, its work done, folded space and vanished, a myth again, somewhere to be rediscovered another day. Peace settled over the ravaged vault. Nova steadied Amara. "You did it. We did." Sable smiled, a rare warmth. "The future remains unwritten, Dr. Holt." Jace grinned, a little taller now. "So what's next?" Amara breathed in, feeling whole for the first time in years. "We learn. We help rebuild. We tell the story of what happened here. So next time, maybe there won't need to be a hero." As they emerged from Tethys Station, sunlight bathed the battered hull of the Riptide. Beyond, new signals danced in the dark, fractious, hopeful, human. The whispers that started the journey would now echo as a song of possibility across the stars. And humanity, battered but undaunted, would keep reaching for more.